But a new segment that we want to kick off on Ring Theory, and it's going to be a real light version of what we're going to do. It's called Uncrowned, where we want to just think and talk about this week. We're going to pick one person and highlight it across all of us of why we think this person is uncrowned. But somebody who should have been a world champion, somebody who should have had the opportunity to have the ball and run with it, if you will. And so for this week, we are talking about a part of the Hurt Syndicate, Mr. The Shelton Benjamin. About Benjamin Shelton. No, we gonna let you down. We gonna let you there. We gonna let you there. We gonna move on. But yes, Shelton Benjamin is our choice this year, but not this year. Oof, this episode for Uncrowned. And so, a man who has been an IC champion multiple times, a US champion multiple times, a tag champion across multiple companies and multiple continents. This man has done it all in his career besides be a world champion. And that's something that has gone way. He's got to be the highlight man. He gets to steal your attention in a ladder match. He's good enough for that. But as a kid watching him back in the day, I was like, oh man, him and Bobby Lashley. I got Shelton on Raw. I got Bobby on SmackDown. We gonna get world champ. We out here, y'all. We making it, y'all. We go. Wait, is that Shelton Mama?
Yeah, Shelton Mammy.
Why are we doing this? This don't feel right. Shelton should have had multiple opportunities, whether it's having a manager with him, whether it's having. We had ECW there. Why couldn't we give him a test run there? If he's going to be the gold standard, let him have some gold, some true gold, and show you what he can actually do with it.
Yeah.
My vote is Shelton Benjamin. He should have been a world champion. He should have held that big gold. If Triple H can put his shoulders on the mat two times for Shelton Benjamin, you could also give this man an opportunity to be a champion. You gave Randy a month. Why couldn't Shelton even have a month to show you what he could do with big gold? Ed showed you what he could do with a month with big gold. Well, spinner belt WWE, but this man didn't even get his foot in the door. This man should have had his foot in the door a long time ago. Shelton Benjamin. Jay, how you feeling about this?
I 100% agree with you. I mean, when he came out, I mean, they said that he was training with Brock Lesnar, and he may not have the size of a Brock Lesnar, but his athletic ability was undeniable. I mean, he was scaling up ladders like effortlessly during some of those Money in the Bank matches. The way he springboarded across the ring and caught that sweet chin music was super athletic. I mean, they still show that highlight even though he's in another competing company. You know, that's how impressive he is, right? And he may have not had the mouthpiece behind him, but I think they could have at least given him a test run. And I will disagree with you a little bit on this one, Gerard. You said, he's the gold standard. Why not put him in ECW? He's the gold standard. ECW, when they had it, that belt was silver at best. He would have had to dye his hair gray or platinum or something like that. And then Lotto wasn't say, "I'm the platinum standard." You know what I mean? But I see your vision, right? But to be said, I mean, he should have already had at least one world championship run, and it's a shame that he hasn't yet. Hopefully, Tony Khan can make something happen with him, but he deserves at least one crack at the AEW World Championship while he's under contract over there.
I'll say, you make a valid point of this man running up ladders. This man invented game mechanics for these people to sell video games off of. Because I remember when they put that ladder mechanic in where you could put it and lean it against the ladder, which became a thing for games and games and games in the future. Nobody prior to me that I've seen on national television prior to Shelton Benjamin did it.
Right.
But we're not giving this man his fair due, truly. So, great point. How about you, Ray?
Yeah, I side with you guys. Definitely think he's uncrowned. And it's similar to what we were talking about with Drew McIntyre, where you just see you as a good hand, don't see you as getting out of that bubble. You see we could see you elevating guys, and that's interesting that you brought up him beating Triple H 2 times, Gerard, because that's 2 more times than Booker T did. Yeah, well, but we won't get into that. Yeah, I believe it. All the highlights that you guys mentioned, like you mentioned, not only just any Money in the Banks, the first Money in the Bank, and I think that wouldn't have been a concept in part that would have continued if it wasn't for Shelton Benjamin and for just the amazing athleticism that he was displaying in that match. Like you mentioned, people still talk about hopping off the ropes and getting the sweet chin music. Like there's still Chris Van Vliet just had an interview with Shawn Michaels, still talking about
I saw that, yeah.
Like 20 years later. It's similar to Evan Bourne doing the shooting star press into the RKO. Like people are going to be talking about that for like decades as far as that particular move. But again, he came in like people could have seen him as being on his own, but now we'll drop you in with this team with Angle. And then it was like, once he got out from Angle, it was like, you could stick around with the world's greatest tag team with Charlie Haas. And then we just see you as a tag team guy. And like you guys mentioned, once he got out of that and tried to get string out on his own, we gonna bring in your mama. And shout out to Thea Vidal. You a legend, miss. You a legend. But it just shouldn't have worked that way. And I think that the people didn't, the people in charge back then, they just didn't see it in him. But I think even now it's like you're still now kind of slotting them in, and I think people continue to not see it in him. Like when he went off to Japan, like he was a beast even before he came back to WWE the first time or the second time rather, and kind of meshed together with MVP and with Bobby Lashley in order to make the Hurt Business along with Cedric Alexander. Like before then, he was out in Japan. He was doing his thing. He wasn't like the guy, but he was showing that he could still wrestle on a high level in singles competition. He won a couple belts here and there, I believe, in All Japan. So I think that people still, and don't give me all this stuff about, he can't talk. Like the brother has charisma, especially we seen it with him in AEW when he first returned, like just giving like snide remarks on the side. It's just like, especially with MJF trying to join the Hurt Business, like the initial part of that, and like him just staring at the women when he brought out the women, or him looking at the watch. So I think he has the charisma in there. He has the pet personality in there. It's just, how are you going to get him, or how are you going to highlight that and get that to flourish throughout like a program or throughout an angle? So I think that's pretty much been the biggest mark against him. But I think especially later on in his career, he's continued to show that he can turn it on when he needs to.
Okay. And Chris?
Yep.
Yeah, Shelton Benjamin. I think Shelton Benjamin, if we were gonna ever play the so-called race card with any wrestler, it's apt to play that with Shelton Benjamin, man, because this brother, he's often considered to be one of the members of the greatest WWE class of all time. With Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Dave Batista, Shelton Benjamin, and John Cena. And it's just crazy that the other four were able to rise to that level, and Shelton Benjamin, for whatever reason, never really got to.
Yeah, I wonder what's different about him than the other four.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, because him and Randy Orton were pretty much neck and neck as far as on the same level with each other. And I think Randy Orton was given, even when when they were saying he was a troublemaker, he was given chance after chance, and Shelton Benjamin just wasn't given that. He did win the world title in Puerto Rico. Some people count that, some people don't. I don't really, only because he deserves to win the world title in a North American company. I will say that in 2005 is an indictment on WWE, in my opinion, because in 2005 he had hands down the two best matches of the year in wrestling. You can, and it's not even an argument that he had the two best matches of the year in WWE, but his match with Kurt Angle on Raw and his match with Shawn Michaels on Raw. Those were the matches of that year. And if you have something else, at me, but I dare I say those were the best matches in that show. I think with Shelton Benjamin, he's a victim of Vince McMahon and the bookers not being able to take down their racial blind spots for a guy. I think with like a guy like Booker T, Booker T was able to be understood doing the King Booker thing, and it was slightly a caricature, a little bit of shucking and jiving in it, not like to an extreme extent, but a little bit. Same with like Mark Henry. You could put Booker T in a black stereotype, and Mark Henry, when he was world champion, you could put him in a black stereotype because he was just a tough, big black guy that beat the fuck out of everybody. And I think Vince McMahon was able to understand that. And with Bobby Lashley, he was not a stereotype, but he's almost like, I almost kind of grade him like I grade The Rock, because when people point to The Rock being the first black WWE champion, I don't count The Rock, and it's not because he's half Samoan. I think black is black, right? I don't count The Rock because I think that's an unfair bar. It's like The Rock is way better than everybody. So it's like, The Rock's charisma was so off the chart that it couldn't even be contained in WWE. So for that used to be the standard for black wrestlers, and not everybody's going to be like The Rock. And I think Bobby Lashley kind of falls into that category as well, because how many people with a body like Bobby Lashley and just the raw kind of amateur abilities of him, like in WWE, for the longest time in that company, if you were black, you cannot afford to be average, or not even average as in just like as far as wrestling, because Shelton Benjamin's better than average, but average as far as like looks wise, right? Like the standard for white guys in WWE winning the championship is the fucking Miz. The standard for black guys winning the championship in WWE for the longest time was The Rock. Come on, man. And I think Shelton Benjamin just fell victim to that. It's like once Vince McMahon figured he couldn't fit him into a stereotypes, he tried to create stereotypes for him, dyeing his hair like Cisco, making Thea Vidal be not even his mom, his mammy. She was a mammy character coming out there wearing a onesie blouse or whatever, giving this dude a spanking and shit. smacking him over the back of the head when he was eyeballing Melina and stuff like that. Very, very disrespectful to our people. Just not good stuff, you know. And still Shelton Benjamin rise. And I'll even argue with MVP on something, because he said that they were able to carry the hurt of business across 3 companies. I argue they carried it across 4 companies, because
I was about to say,
they did it in TNA, with my boy Kenny King, WWE, of course, AEW, of course, but you also got to give it to them in
MLW,
New Japan,
MLW too.
Yeah, MLW too, and New Japan too, because in New Japan, so you can say 5 companies, because in New Japan, Shelton Benjamin and MVP were World Tag Team Champions, man.
Yeah.
So that's an act they've been able to carry across the world, man. So if I ever see Shelton, or if I ever see MVP again, I'm gonna let him know that, man. It's like that is an act that works, and it works everywhere you take it to, you know. So Shelton Benjamin, man, he is, to me, the most unsung hero of wrestling. And shout out to Tony Khan, because if TK doesn't do anything else good in his life, the one thing he did that was great was he brought Shelton Benjamin in, gave him a respectable run, took him out of the doldrums that WWE had him in, and put him in situations that made him look strong. I don't know if he'll ever win the AEW world title, but he should definitely at least win the ROH world title. This guy has a wrestling story, and it needs to be capped off good. And at 50 years old, Shelton Benjamin is one of the reasons why you can't even say 50 is old anymore, you know. Like when you like, if you look back at the 1970s, and the way people in their 40s looked in the 1970s, like Archie Bunker, I was watching All in the Family, and Sanford and Son. These guys were like 44, 45 years old, and they look 65, 70 years old, you know. And Shelton Benjamin, man, is just age defying and just so great. And I'm so glad that when WWE got rid of him, he didn't take the easy way out of being a backstage agent in WWE, because I'm sure they would have given him that. He saw something in himself, went to AEW, reinvented himself, and I give that man all the flowers, man. I don't even need to do another segment like this again, Gerard, after this, because I just, Shelton Benjamin is the most deserving of that, in my opinion. I can't. It almost brings a tear to my eye to think of what he didn't get in his WWE career that every fucking body else got. But and they'll blame it on charisma, and he couldn't talk, and he couldn't play into our bullshit stereotypes enough. They'll say all kind of crap. He deserved the world title in that company. He deserved to be a main eventer in that company. He deserved to, at least, if Jericho could do it, Benoit can do it. Eddie Guerrero, all those guys. No reason why Shelton Benjamin couldn't have. So that's what I got to say about that. And if you give me like the whole show, I can just go on about this. I could do a fucking case study. I could do a dissertation on Shelton Benjamin and his lack of a WWE run. It's such a fucking travesty.
Yeah.
Right.
Agree.